Okay, hello everybody. Today we're going to be doing a class guide on Blazebinder. Blazebinder is primarily a farming and PvP class. While it is capable of doing some light soloing, its heal and sustain is not good enough to survive against many of the harder bosses. So while this class is capable of doing some farming, if you're looking to solo some bosses that hit a little bit harder, you're probably going to look towards something else. So, that being said, let's go over the skills and stats, and then we'll move into the passives and talk about the class a little bit more in depth from there. So the stats on this class are heavily spell power based. As you can see here, really high spell power, really low attack, really high intellect. That's what this class is about. It's about lots and lots of damage. Lots and lots of damage is what Blazebinder is all about. The mana regen method on Blazebinder is the stock caster mana regen of gaining mana when you do damage and bonus on crits. All of Blazebinder's attacks do magical damage, as you can see by its high spell power and intellect stat. Not a concern, all of these are doing magical damage. Its first attack here, Combustion Blaze, costs 10 mana on a 4-second cooldown. It does moderate damage, applying a small DOT for 4 seconds. The skill is guaranteed to crit and is unavoidable, so it must crit, cannot miss. Your second skill on Blazebinder, Choking Shadow Smoke, costs 25 mana for an 8-second cooldown. It deals no damage up front, however, it reduces your opponent's chance to hit you, as well as having a 50% chance to stun them for 2 seconds. This also applies a large dot to the target for 8 seconds, and the stun lasts for 4 seconds. The third skill is Fire in Your Skin. This is 30 mana for a 16-second cooldown. This applies a shield to you, reflecting damage that you take for a short time, as well as giving you a heal over time for 6 seconds. Your final ability, Dark Fire, is 25 mana for a 12-second cooldown. This ability is a relatively large damage nuke, doing about 12 to 1300 damage, and applying a moderate dot for 8 seconds. This ability also has 2 possible procs on it. Either it will increase the damage that your dots are doing, or debuff how much damage your enemy is doing. This skill is guaranteed not to crit and is also unavoidable. Now we're going to cover this class's passives. Your first passive is Sear Flesh. This is a 20% damage increase to all of your dots. Second rank 4 passive is Sear Bone. This is a 10% damage increase to all of your damage. Your rank 10 passive is Burn at Both Ends. This is a chance proc rank 10 passive, so it's going to be rare. However, it's very powerful. Occasionally, your haste and mana regen are greatly increased for a short time. The haste increase is pretty significant, at about 4 times haste increase, and the mana regen is almost that as well, meaning that if you see this proc, you can basically hit your abilities with little to no cooldown for a short time. When it comes to using your skills as Blazebinder, you really want to be focusing on using your 2 and 3 skill when you're farming. You don't want to be using your 4 or your 5 very often. You use your 4 occasionally if you're taking more damage than you expected or if you need to heal, but you really don't do it often. That most of the time you're going to be just looking to apply your 2 and 3 because this is where most of your damage comes from. As you can see, I've killed these pirate skeletons in relatively quick time. That it doesn't take a lot of work. I really didn't take a lot of damage because of the damage evasion from your 3 skill. That it's really not a big deal. This is sort of your primary damage rotation for farming. It's just hitting your 2 and 3, and occasionally when you get low, hitting your 4 to heal back up. So you really want to stay away from your 5 as much as possible unless you can help it. In a PvP scenario, might be more important there, but for just general everyday farming, you want to try and stay away from your 4 and 5 skill as much as possible. So with that being said, we're now going to see if it can solo Blood Titan. We know Oracle could easily last week. However, Oracle has an immense survivability, and on a boss like Blood Titan that can't miss, so the extra evasion chance doesn't really matter, and that has higher damage than your average boss, this might not fare super well. I don't know, but we'll see. If it does survive regular Blood Titan, we will take it on to Ultra Blood Titan and see how it fares there. I suspect it won't last very long in that fight at all, but we'll see. So, that being said, let's move into the Blood Titan fight. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so it got there. It was a bit scary at parts. Turns out the class doesn't have great single target mana regen. That most of the power of getting a lot of mana regen comes out of hitting multiple targets and especially stacking those dots on multiple targets, so you're constantly getting a flow of mana back in, so you can't afford to spam. So it took me a little bit to kind of figure out what is the proper rotation so I don't burn myself out of mana. And even then, when the Titan went into its rage mode and started hitting for 300, 350, it was still tough for the heal over time to keep up with that. And the fact that heal over time does cost a lot of mana meant that I had to be very careful about how I used my other skills to try not to run myself too low on mana so I couldn't use the heal. So it was a little scary, especially compared to Oracle, which we lose last week, but we survived, we got through it, and now we're going to go on to Ultra and see how quick it dies, because it will. If Oracle was struggling with Ultra, oh, this is going to get killed real fast. Okay, so here we are at Ultra Blood Titan, and we're gonna pick a fight, and I'll be back with you guys in a minute after he's killed me. Oh no. Well, that didn't last long. Okay, that was hardly even worth fast forwarding through. Well, as you can see, this class, not a soloing class. That it can solo, but it is not designed for it. That's not what it's supposed to do. That is not its strength. PvP, farming, those are what this class is really designed for. That's what it's great at. That this class doesn't have any real party buffs. It doesn't have any real sustain or damage mitigation kind of thing that it can use consistently. That it's struggles to keep its mana up when it's in single target situations. So I definitely would not recommend this class highly for soloing, but for farming, for PvP, it's great here. So now we're going to actually move on to the PvP segment, and I will see you guys after that. Okay, so for the Blazebinder PvP, as you can see, I'm still level 63. I'm not 55. So running in here to do a bunch of duels, I'm going to be at a disadvantage. That while 63 and 65 are not a massive difference, it is enough of a difference that all other things being equal, I should not be winning these matches. Yet I was pretty consistently winning, and whether that's chalked up to player skill, which I really doubt it is because I literally have never played PvP duels before this moment, I believe that really a lot of it comes down to that this class is incredibly powerful. It has evasion, it has a heal, it has a stun, it has lots of very powerful dots and some burst damage if needed. It has a reflect if you're playing against a class like Arc Paladin who's going to be trying to burst you down. This class is very, very good in PvP. So, as you can see here, the damage rotation that I was normally working with was leading with my 3 for the chance to stun, as well as getting the damage mitigation. And then I went 5 for the damage nuke, applying the other dot. Then I normally went to 2, just to apply another dot and get a little bit more damage in. And then at that point, I would normally hit 4 to try and heal back up, as well as to put up the shield in case I was fighting a class with a nuke. Because at that point, most nuke-based classes had normally set up a little bit and were ready to try and burst you down. So that was the general rotation of how I played Blazebinder here. Occasionally I would change it up based on if I was getting hurt a lot faster, if I was playing against a class that was going to try and nuke me down a lot faster, something like Cryomancer, or Ultra Omni Knight, then I would put up the shield earlier. For the most part, I stuck to the rotation of 3-5 to 4. And that worked pretty well for me in most situations. That I won a decent number of my matches here, and considering my disadvantage of being a little under-leveled, as well as only having the 1500 PvP trinket, there was a lot fighting against me. And so the fact that I was able to win relatively consistently does show how good this class is in PvP. And if you guys are looking for a PvP class, I would highly recommend this. While it doesn't have the same kind of crazy burst damage as Arc Paladin or Cryomancer or Ultra Omni Knight does, it's going to be hitting a lot more consistently. And as you can see toward the end here, I got into a little bit of a drawn-out fight with a pyromancer, and was just able to beat him because of my multiple dots that I can apply, getting very consistent damage over the course of the fight. Thank you for watching today's video. If you guys liked the video, disliked the video, feel free to leave a comment. Please leave that all below. If you guys enjoy this content and want to see anything else from me, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel to get updates on anything else that I do, whether it be streams, videos, or otherwise. And with that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.